Happy New Year, everybody. I hope all of your 2017 dreams came true, and I hope your 2018 has started out nice. Mine started by sleeping till noon, so I'm pretty sure I started the year exactly how I should have. Um, then I wrote a lot, so if you follow my blogs, which you should, hopefully, I wrote about everything I watched in 2017. There was a lot of films, a lot of television. It was a fantastic year in terms of cinema. Mostly because the rest of the year was awful in every other sense, I turned to watching way too many films as a coping mechanism. Fantastic. This year's uh, sort of film resolution, I had two. One was with 52 films by women, I want to make sure that I do 52 films that are new releases. I did 39, I think, new releases, or 32, I can't remember now, that were directed by women. And so I'm going to up that and make it 52 new releases by women, and then at least 52 other releases by women. But I also want to watch more silent film. Now, that sounds weird because last year, obviously because of Pordenone, a third of the films that I watched last year were silent. Like 200 plus out of 600 something were silent films. That seems like not enough. I mean, that seems like too much, but it was almost all in October, November, December, and I want to spread it out better throughout the year. So I started the year with both resolutions because I have this amazing DVD set. Is it in there? There we go. From from Flicker Alley. It's both from the Black Hawk Films collection as well as some restorations by Lobster Films. It is fantastic. It has a whole bunch of movies and Special Agent Dale Cooper. There's a whole bunch of movies on it, quite a few of which I have not seen. So I'm very excited to watch my way through this set. I also have a set of early pioneers of African American cinema that I watched some of when it first came out in 2016, and I have the whole set now, so I'm going to work my way through that as well. But on this one, I started with, because I'm going to jump into it, I'm going to start with the mother of cinema herself, Ms. Alice Guy Blaché. So I started with the five Alice Guy Blaché films that are on here, and those are 1902's Les Chiens, savants, and it is this wonderful film about a woman who has these like trained dogs, and they do crazy stuff, and one of the dogs wears a suit, and it's fantastic. I really enjoyed it. The next film was Une histoire roulante, and basically it's like the setting up it's from 1906. So that one was from 1902. Yes, and this was from 1906, and it's basically setting up like every ridiculous comical car chase ever. But instead of a car, because this is 1906, it's a man in a barrel, and he falls asleep in a barrel, and his buddies like thinks it's gonna be so funny to push the barrel down a hill, and the barrel hits a bunch of people. It knocks a woman on a bicycle over, and I laughed so hard. It was so funny, so perfectly timed. There's a bit with a train, like everything you want in a 2-minute careening barrel car chase short. The next film was 1907's L'Enfant de la Barricade, and it's about a young man who gets swept up into a war and his mother's attempt to keep him alive. It's about 6 minutes long. It is so beautifully shot. It's so wonderfully constructed. She fills up the entire frame with men and the barricade and war and the mother's pleas for her son's life, and it feels very claustrophobic and a great early look at why framing is so important in cinema. The next film on there is actually Falling Leaves, which is a beautiful film about a young girl that I have seen before, but if you've not seen Fallen Leaves, definitely check that one out as well. The next film was 1912's Making an American Citizen. It's about 15 minutes long, and it follows a couple who immigrate from their country to America and get accustomed to the American way of living, and by getting Americanism lessons. But mostly, it's the husband is a jerk to his wife, and he has to learn not to be a jerk, and it takes a lot for him to finally realize that maybe he should be a nice guy and that in America, women have more freedom, or at least white women have more freedom, and he needs to treat her with respect. And so it's a very early feminist film, but it also looks at ways in which immigrants were treated unfairly by the police. So it's very timely, 1912. The final film I watched today, also about 15 minutes long, was called The Girl in the Armchair. It's also from 1912, and it's about a man who is a gambling addict, and has just gotten engaged to be married to a wonderful young woman who deserves so much better than she's getting with this idiot. And he borrows $500 at 500%. Anybody who does that is an idiot, and she should not be saving his hide. But obviously, she saves his hide, and everything ends up happy. This film has an early use of double exposure to create a nightmare sequence where he's being haunted by the playing cards. Fantastic. Wonderful performances from the lead actress, Blanche Cornwall. She's great. Just a great early melodrama, really. So these films are all available on this disc from Flicker Alley, but you can also watch them all in not as good condition on YouTube. Most of Alice Guy's films are on YouTube, the ones that are existent. Extant, there we go. So you can watch those. But I recommend watching it on this set because it gives you some really great contextualization of the films before they start, as well as some contextualization about the history of Alice Guy and her filmmaking history. It also has new scores. And one thing that's really important with silent film is a great film score to go with it. And I think a lot of people, unfortunately, sometimes see silent films without a great film score, and then that sort of diminishes their appreciation of the art. So you really need a great score for that. Plus, people should get paid for their work. So some of the films that end up on YouTube, like the film is in public domain, but the score is not, and you're doing a disservice to those silent film musicians because they're not dead. Most of those people, the scores that are on those prints are living musicians, and they should get their rightful money for the work that they did to make those scores. So find this. You can probably rent it from, or get it from your local library if you can't afford to buy the set. But there are like, I don't know, 25 or more films on here that I haven't seen, something like that. So I'll be watching my way through that through the rest of the year. And by the rest of the year, I mean I'll probably watch it in January. And keep going. So happy first month of the year and happy 2018. And watch films that are outside your comfort zone, and watch films by women, and watch films by queer filmmakers, and watch films by people of color, and watch films that challenge your worldview. That is what I have to say to you right now.